Hey, it's Ben from Dscout. Welcome to another tutorial. In this video, I want to talk about in-the-wild usability, which is a fancy way of saying capture feedback from your users about products and services in the ways that they actually use them. The remote moment that many of us are facing offers an opportunity to capture more organic, in-the-wild, contextual usability feedback. So in this video, I'll be walking through a study design focused on a French press. But the strategies and suggestions that I outline here can just as easily apply to a digital product like an app or service. Now, before we get into the design, it's important that I talk about the tool that I'm using, which is called Dscout Diary. Despite its name, Dscout Diary is really a mobile moments tool or platform. It allows me to create sets of questions, which you're seeing here on the left-hand side as called parts, and have participants answer those sets of questions once, like an interview, or multiple times, like a diary study. So what you'll see throughout this video are individual discrete moments that comport with different parts. And those parts relate to different goals that I have within the project. So that's Dscout Diary. Let's jump into how it is that I designed this project. My first recommendation is to set an expectation or create a baseline for what it is that you're going to get later in the usage diary or the usage part of your fieldwork. Now, because I'm so very clever, I've titled my first part, which is a set of questions, French expectations. Now, specifically, I've recruited folks who have told me that they've never used or don't use a French press regularly to prepare their coffee. But these are folks who are coffee drinkers. So in part one, I'm asking them questions around their current coffee preparation method, even if it doesn't have to do with a French press. And as I've said in other videos, I'm mixing up the kinds of questions that I ask. Namely, I'm not hitting them with only open ends or only closed ends. I'm getting a nice combination of responses and data from which to work from. So I've got a selfie video asking them their understanding of, their expectations of a French press, how they think it might be different. So I have some characteristics that I'm interested in here. Time to make, coffee strength, amount of coffee. I do have some Likert type questions about their confidence in using it. Again, I'm varying the kinds of questions, but I do want to get a baseline. And I also want some context around what they already know about a French press. Now, for you, this might be that you want to know which persona group they fall into, or you might want detractors and attractors, folks who are in particular camps before, but be conscious and strategic in what those baseline questions are. Don't just make them quant. Don't just make them qual. Make them mix, because you want to understand a more holistic view of the folks who are comprising this usage study. Now, when you're conducting a usability study that's in the wild and organic, you have a lot more flexibility to capture multiple moments of use, multiple moments of setting up, and therefore lots of different opportunities to build reliability, that is, confidence in the data you're seeing. Now, we're looking at the back end of this study, and so here's part two, the unbox and setup. And I have different questions that I'm interested in around the unboxing and setup process than I do the actual using of the French press. And so again, splitting the unboxing and setup and the using of into two separate activities will really give me a lot of precision in the metrics that I'm able to collect. So again, I'm asking for a video of how it's set up. I can ask questions from my product and design team on the appeal or disappeal of the packaging. And again, asking about expectations and their confidence level. Now, for the usage diary, the part that we think of most when we have experience or usability research, this multiplicity, that is multiple moments, comes in to really, really help me. I want to be confident in the decisions and recommendations that I'm making. So if I were to bring someone into a lab, I'm asking them to do a single task. I only have one session with them. I have no idea how they might use it in their real lives, in the context in which they live. In part three, let me click over and show you what this looks like in the data that they offer. You can see participants shared moments from their kitchens, mostly. Sometimes they're at their desks. Sometimes they might be outside, using and showing me how it is that they engage with this French press. And again, because it's a separate part, I have different questions that I'm asking. What time of day was it? What were you trying to do? Give the moment a title. Show me a video of how it's going. And so again, above and beyond just seeing them operate the French press, I get a lot of context into their world, time of day, what they might be doing, what's the use, that is the goal or the job that the French press is trying to do in that moment. So the thing to remember is that multiplicity and the multiple parts, the different activities, can really help you drill into the particular parts of the experience that you want to learn more about. And the repeated moments let you feel more confident that you're actually seeing something that is there, that you can make a recommendation and a decision based upon. Okay, we've reached the conclusion. I've asked about benchmarking, their expectations. I've had them set up and unbox, and I've had them show me how it is that they would use the French press in their everyday life. Now it's time for them to offer me a final verdict, and that's what I term this last set of questions. And what I find when you're using a remote tool like Dscout is that the feedback, the reflection ability is very, very high for participants. Instead of bringing them into a lab for a single session and then asking at the end of that maybe short session, what did you think? I have had folks over the course of several days think about, engage with, and frankly use this product. And again, it could be a digital or physical experience. And so this last set of questions reflects the expectation that they're going to give me cogent, imaginative responses. I've asked for a star rating. I've asked them to select which of the following ways they expect they'll use the French press again, exclusively as their coffee maker, not at all, or somewhere in between. I've asked for a selfie video for them to contextualize and talk about their experience using the French press. And then I ask for a hit, something they like, a miss, something they don't, and then a wish, something they wish the French press had. So it's very short. I'm not asking for a full multi-hour or hour-long debrief, although that might fit with your design. Here, I am really leveraging the fact that things have bubbled up cognitively that they can reflect on and apply. So it's a very, very strong way for me to get robust, actionable feedback at the conclusion of this usability study. And so that, in a very, very accelerated way, is conducting remote, in the wild usability on a product. From getting a benchmark to multiple moments to using those moments to spur creative responses, I would argue that conducting your product testing remotely and using a platform like Dscout can really give you actionable, contextual, multi-method insights that will serve lots of different stakeholders and inform a host of decisions. You're not only seeing how it is that they're using the product or service, but you're getting really nuanced qualitative feedback. And so together, this has offered me a ton of data on the lowly, humble, but mighty French press. If you'd like to check out these data and have a peek at the design that I use for this, visit the URL on your screen. I'm Ben from Dscout. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you again soon.